Welcome everybody. This is Lessons from the Field, and this is a series of interviews where we discuss with notable guests, typically alum of the College of Pharmacy, their experience and passion for pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences. And today we're featuring Ryan Koca, who is actually is a double alum of UIC, right? He's got a bachelor's degree, I think in, was it biological sciences, Ryan?
Yes, correct.
From 2004, and then he completed our PharmD in 2010. He also has an MBA. He's board certified pharmacotherapy specialist, and his current title is Director of Clinical Programs for Tenet Health, or Tenet Healthcare, I'm sorry. I'll be asking Ryan a series of questions, and I'm sure we'll gain a lot of insight into his experiences, and that advice will be very helpful for our students, alumni, and friends who might be listening. So let's go ahead and get started, Ryan. If you could just maybe walk us through in a few minutes what you've been doing since you graduated from UIC.
All right, thank you. First of all, just thanks to you, Dr. Schumock, for this opportunity to speak today and share my experiences and insight. So after graduating from the College of Pharmacy, I completed 2 years of residency at Loma Linda University Medical Center and School of Pharmacy in Loma Linda, California. It's a large academic medical center, provided a wide breadth of clinical, operational, and educational experiences. In my PGY 1 year, I completed rotations in areas like the NICU, pediatric hemonc, med-use safety, and nutrition. Then I stayed on and did a PGY 2 there in administration and med safety. And during that second year of residency, our medical center was converting from one electronic medical record to another, so I was able to participate in many activities related to that conversion. It really sparked my interest in the area of informatics, and I was able to see how vital informatics was in healthcare. So after completing the residency, I leveraged that experience in administration and informatics, and I took a position coordinating an electronic medical record conversion from the pharmacy perspective at a mid-sized community hospital in the Los Angeles area that was part of a larger nationwide integrated delivery network, or IDN, called Tenet Healthcare. That involved prepping staff, ensuring all deliverables were complete, creating pharmacy content, helping with interfacing, training, workflow development, change management, things like that. Additionally, because of the med safety work I did in my second year residency and my residency project, I was able to help with a national med safety initiative at the parent company at Tenet Health, working on dose range checking alerts and other clinical decision support they were building into the system. So after that project was completed at the local hospital, a position opened up with the IDN's national informatics team. And so that networking that I did with the Med Safety Initiative really allowed me to succeed in being promoted to the national informatics team, where I spent the next 2 years crisscrossing the country, supporting the implementation of a large conversion project for the EMR across the entire organization. So we were doing more training, workflows, creating practice standards, continuing that development of the clinical decision support, and also doing maintenance post-go live. And then that project started to wind down. At that same time, the national IDN pharmacy director was expanding her team. And in 2015, I was tapped to become the national director of clinical pharmacy for the IDN, which was a new position alongside her newly hired national director of pharmacy operations. So that role was a mix of informatics and clinical, where I leveraged my extensive experience in informatics to help jumpstart the clinical pharmacy program at the organization. The job's really all about promoting cost-effective, high-quality patient care via national clinical pharmacy initiatives, things like antimicrobial stewardship, national formulary development and management, utilizing data analysis and big data to drive value for the organization. Also get to liaison with other ancillary departments like lab and respiratory therapy to enhance cooperation and coordination across disciplines. So for example, rapid molecular technologies that are used for stewardship, antimicrobial stewardship, you really need lab and pharmacy to work closely together for that to be successful. And then more recently, during the COVID-19 pandemic, developing clinical guidelines around that, creating clinical content and supporting our frontline staff. And really just every day is a new and unique challenge. With such a large and complex organization, I'm constantly learning and growing.
Wow, Ryan, that's you've really done a lot in 10 years. And I'm so interested to hear more, because a lot of what you've done is similar interest to mine. I don't know if you know, but I also did it wasn't called a PGY2 residency at the time, but it was a residency in pharmacy administration, and then a 2-year program, like basically similar to what you've done, and I went on and worked as a director of pharmacy. But a lot of what you've done is along the same line. So it just sounds so exciting, the fact that you were traveling across the country to different tenant hospitals and involved in implementing the electronic medical record. And boy, the experience that you must have got doing that is just phenomenal.
Yeah, trial by fire a lot of times. And, so it was good. It was good.
Was that the Epic system that you were implementing, or?
No, actually, we were implementing Cerner across our organization.
Oh, Cerner. Okay.
And I saw that recently. It looks like University of Illinois Hospital just changed over to Epic. So it's constantly, there's always this constant back and forth and continuing improvement on all those things.
Yeah, that's right. Wow. Well, you got to meet a lot of people and see a lot of different hospitals in that time. So,
Yes.
And your current role is, I know it's at the national level. So will you still be doing a lot of travel like that to the hospitals that are part?
So pre-COVID, yes, was a lot of travel to go check in on the hospitals, work with them, help them with their initiatives, things of that nature. So I did get to go out and meet a lot of the operators locally, the clinicians locally, which is another great part of the job. Now with COVID, things obviously have changed a little bit, so travel has been cut significantly, but that is a big part of the job as well, is going out there and supporting all of our hospitals and all of our clinicians out there where I can.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds great. Well, let's just jump right into some of the questions. First one is really to kind of reflect back on your time at UIC. It wasn't that long ago, but how do you feel like the time you spent here at UIC, the PharmD program, and everything that you learned here helped prepare you for the career that you've had so far?
Sure. So, I think first and foremost, the world-class professors located in this urban medical district that the college is located in. It's associated with a top-notch academic medical center. You have the access to the resources of a big city. And then I know since graduating, the college has expanded to highlight a focus on rural practice as well, which I think is fantastic and needed now more than ever. I think just the fact that all the students in this program speaks to their abilities. You're some of the brightest future pharmacists out there. And so to that end, I know I was pushed when I was a student to succeed by all my other classmates. I learned a lot from their varied experiences that were many times much different than mine. So really embrace that opportunity that the college provides. Of course, the professors challenge us academically to strive for excellence. If I'm being honest, I didn't always achieve academic excellence, but the high standards kept me continuing to improve and grow. Additionally, the breadth of experiences and opportunities that the college provides, like, for example, something that comes to mind is the pharmaceutical marketing class. I got to take that as a student and then come back the next year and be a teaching assistant.
Oh, nice.
And so that was fantastic and a really great, unique opportunity. And then the variety of APPE experiences that the college offers was just absolutely fantastic. And I think finally, the leaders at the College of Pharmacy set us up for success by making us believe we could do great things and just really built up our confidence throughout the 4 years.
Great. The way we do these interviews, a lot of it is about advice that you have for our current students or for those that might be listening. So maybe we'll start with, maybe advice that you've gotten in the past and how, maybe what was the best tip that you got along the way from either while you're in school or after you graduated from somebody that you respected or worked with, and tip on either, tip on your career or your life in general that might be useful for others to hear.
Sure. So I think I've had an opportunity to have many mentors, which has been, really, really important for growth. And I think two things from mentors is one being maintaining a balance between work and life. Always take time to do things that you enjoy, allow for a break, especially during challenging times like the times we're living through right now. My life moves really quickly, and slowing down every now and again to recharge is essential. So whether that's going for a run or golfing or reading a book or learning a language, just find something that interests you and don't burn out from working 24/7, which I know can be very hard with many of us working from home and going to school from home. So I think that's really, really important. Another thing, I heard this really great quote on a podcast recently, and I think it's attributable to Theo Epstein of the Cubs. he said that there's about 20% of everyone's job that they don't like, that they dislike. And the key for him early on in his career was find out what that 20% was for his supervisor and then offer to help complete those tasks. Not only does that ingratiate you with the boss, but you end up learning so much in those tasks that help you grow and further your career. For example, when I was a resident, I found one of the most valuable experiences that I gained during residency was that staffing on the front line in the pharmacy on the nights and weekends. And that's why I picked up as many shifts as I could. Most residents dislike staffing more or less. They don't find it as glamorous as rounding with the medical team. But I think that type of work, that frontline work, is really the meat and potatoes of pharmacy. And those experiences were invaluable to helping me grow and succeed. So I think those two things, and I guess maybe a third thing, if I could, the path that you take may not always be what you imagined. So, I encourage you to keep an open mind and challenge yourself. As a student, I pictured myself as being a community pharmacist, interacting with patients at the community pharmacy on a day-to-day basis. And then as I went through school and I got into residency, then I thought, okay, now I'm going to be a pediatric clinical specialist. That's my role. And then what I ended up actually doing was something around informatics and pharmacy administration. So I think, your path can always kind of diverge in places that you don't really think it might go, but it ends up working out in the end for the best. So always be open to new opportunities and take a risk every once in a while. I think you might find yourself enjoying where that takes you.
Yeah, excellent advice. When did you get interested in more of the administrative side of things? Was that during the PGY1 you were doing?
Yeah, it was during PGY1, and actually during one of my rotations. So my last rotation in my P4 year was a rotation with the Food and Drug Administration in Washington, D.C. And one of the things with that rotation was every day we went somewhere new. And one of the days we went to the APHA headquarters down there, right on the mall in DC. And they were doing a presentation about what APHA does. And there was a speaker there that that planted the seed for me that it took a while to grow. But she said something to the effect of, everybody wants to be a clinician, everyone wants to be on the front line and doing all these things, but someone's got to be the boss. Someone's got to be in administration. Someone's got to make the clocks run and all that. So, we're going to need people as people start to get older and they start, retiring. You're going to need folks to come in behind them. And nobody really thinks about doing that, I think. Well, most people don't think about doing that as a student. So I think that was something that really kind of planted the seed that then kind of grew when I was in a residency and I kind of saw what administration can do, the types of roles you can have in pharmacy administration. And I think that's kind of one of the impetuses to kind of led me to where I have ended up in my career so far.
Oh, good. So it was actually during one of your APPE rotations.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, we'll take credit for that then.
Yes, you should. Yes, you should. As you should.
Yeah, there's a handful of students, I think, every year that get interested in administration. But yeah, majority of students probably don't until they're out practicing for a while and you come to realize how important that role is and that we do need people to fill those roles. And so then they maybe change, courses a little bit. And at that point, may have to go back and get some additional training or administration specific kind of training, which you were able to do as a residency. So that was really beneficial. But you also have an MBA. Did you do that MBA while you were doing the residency or after you finished that?
I did it afterwards. So a couple of years in, I started to realize that when I was in these conversations, whether it's like a month-end report or listening to the financial folks talk, I wasn't really understanding all the business terms that they were using and all the finance terms and accounting terms. So I thought if I wanted to be a pharmacy administrator and continue to grow in administration, that getting an MBA would be helpful because it would help me kind of speak that language, understand the terminology, understand how folks with that more business side mindset kind of think. And so I thought it would be good to kind of have that clinical background, of course, being a pharmacist, but then also having that business background and kind of melding the two together. So that's kind of the rationale behind that. And it was a really great experience and, learned a lot and, definitely helps you have those conversations with C-suite individuals and finance folks and understand kind of where they're coming from and kind of meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, it's a great combination, clinical and administrative. So let me just switch the order a little bit on the questions, but maybe I could ask you next is, along the way, whether it's, while you were here or over the residency or subsequent positions that you held, what were the experiences or people who influenced you the most, or were there specific events that ended up impacting your course? You say, one of the things that you offer as advice is staying open to changes in your plans and kind of what might happen. So were there specific things that happened for you that led you where you are?
Well, definitely people. So as I said previously, I've really had the honor to have many different mentors over the years that helped mold me both professionally and personally. So, many at the College of Pharmacy, but one in particular that I'd like to call out, if I hope she won't mind, is Dr. Joanne Stubbings, who inspired me. She won't mind. Who really inspired me to expand my horizons as a student, especially in her marketing class. And she's the reason why I chose those two electives that shaped my future path, the one through the FDA, and then I also did one at Abelson Taylor, although I didn't really know it at the time, I think. But again, she planted that seed, and it took some time to grow, but I'm eternally grateful to her specifically, along with many other professors, for that at the College of Pharmacy. And then other folks, my Loma Linda residency director, Dr. Norman Hamada, preaches things like teamwork, respect for others, and he has this concept of pharmacists as shadow warriors. So pharmacists don't always get the glory, but we do great work in the shadows a lot of times. That's, especially vital to patient care. So while the surgeon, sometimes gets the glory, we're right there behind them, working our own magic that help to keep patients happy and healthy. And then my, bosses at my current organization, highlighting work ethic, following through, always looking to improve systems and yourself, and then just allowing their people below them to showcase their talents to leadership above them. So you kind of get exposure to upper management, allowed us opportunities to grow and get noticed. And, my current boss now, gave me a shot initially with a new role and continues to give me new opportunities to branch out and improve. So those are some of the people that really have influenced and informed my career. And some of those experiences I've had underneath those people, working for them and collaborating with them, are the reasons, why I am where I am now currently.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it just shows you the how much influence people can have, as you move through your career. And I'll definitely give a shout out for Joanne Stubbings when I see her next. Tell her I talked to you. As you know, probably when you were a student, her and I taught a class together, so spent a lot of time. All right, Ryan, so let me move on to the next question. So there are two questions that are kind of interrelated, but one is, what about pharmacy excites you? Where do you see us going in the future? And the other is the opportunities that creates for our students. So let's start with the first one, just kind of, what do you see as the most exciting things coming up in the near future or longer term for pharmacy as a profession?
Sure. So, I think the continued expansion of the role of pharmacists in healthcare in both traditional and non-traditional roles. We have an aging population, the need for healthcare providers continues to grow. And at the same time, resources everywhere are tightening. So I think this is really prime real estate for us as pharmacists to make our mark and help bridge that gap. So, more direct patient care opportunities, especially with telehealth becoming more important and vital. It's a way for us to reach even more patients, underserved patients, rural patient populations. And also to that end, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities in population health and health outcomes. Pharmacists are primed to take the lead in those areas as we continue to move towards value-based care and healthcare. Also, I think, our skill set lends itself well to leading organizations. So our, breadth of clinical knowledge, but also our detail-oriented nature, our empathy that we have in our skill set. I think that can really help with getting into hospital administration or leading other healthcare organizations. I think we're primed for those sorts of roles if you're interested in doing those sorts of things. And then informatics, I'm a little biased, but I think that will continue to be important as technology continues to evolve and we increase our automation. One other area, I think that needs to be talked about is industry. Pharmaceutical industry will continue to be important And there's plenty of opportunities with both large pharmaceutical organizations and also the small biotech startups. And then healthcare policy, you know, what comes next with healthcare policy in the US and how does that affect the healthcare landscape? No matter what happens, there's going to be opportunities, especially for those that maybe have an entrepreneurial spirit, to leverage those opportunities to look for opportunities to change and bring change to healthcare. And I think we're primed for that sort of a role, depending on where things go in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, I love that list. That's very different than some of our other guests who have focused more on, you know, specific your therapeutic advances, or, but this is a great list of opportunities that I totally agree with. That pharmacists are. I think what I really like about your list is it's one where really the pharmacist has an advantage, I think, in moving into those kinds of positions, just as you said. So I guess maybe just to wrap up, so you kind of just talked about some opportunities for the future for pharmacy. Maybe more specifically for our students who are looking ahead at these opportunities and contemplating their career, what they can do while they're students, or even for recent graduates. What advice do you have for our students or others associated with the college to take advantage of these opportunities?
Sure. So I think, you know, I mentioned this before, but keeping an open mind, you know, there's all kinds of unique experiences out there. Look for them, and don't be afraid to go outside your comfort zone. You might find that it's something that you love. Don't be afraid to fail. I think you know, sometimes we're afraid of not knowing something or looking, you know, quote unquote stupid. But I think, you know, failure is a part of life, and you know, you'll come back stronger after a failure, and then that'll be your key to success on the next go around. I think leveraging the vast resources of the university and the college, utilize as much as you can of all the things that they offer. It's just really incredible. I went back through the website recently and looked at all of the great programs that you have going, and just so much out there for you to take advantage of. So do that while you're at the college, because you know, before long you'll be gone, and it'll be 10 years, and then you'll be you know, wondering where the time went. Another, I think, really important thing is networking, making connections and working to keep those connections active and current. So like any good relationship, it needs to be nurtured and maintained over time. So I would advise you to keep in touch with your mentors. And then as you go off into the world, you're going to have mentees. And so really making sure you keep in contact at a regular interval, just making sure that you're keeping up to date with what's going on with them. You'll never know. You may run into them in the future, and most likely you will. And I think just finally, never stop learning. There's so much change going on in pharmacy and healthcare on a continual basis. And I think it's important to just kind of keep up with things as much as you can, whether that's you know, attending webinars or going to conferences, getting BCPS accreditation, getting your MHA or MBA. You know, keep all those options open and kind of see where things take you, and you'll be successful. I mean, being a student at the College of Pharmacy, you're already one of the best of the bunch. So just continue moving forward, and I wish all of you, you know, great success. I know all of you will be successful.
Well, thank you, Ryan. That was excellent. A lot of great advice for our students there. And congratulations to you. You've really done a lot in the last 10 years, and we're proud of you and what you're doing with Tenet and the national position that you have. And next time you're in Chicago, maybe after the pandemic, hopefully you can stop by and we'll give you a little tour of the campus and the building.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.